Hello and welcome to Joy News at 6. The news is live on Joy 99.7 and hits 103.9 FM in Accra, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM, and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Gaskia FM Techim and Radio Sangmalewa, Bolu FM Bolu, and ATL FM Cape Coast. Get radio, TV, and online content on the myjoyonline.com interactive app for Android and iOS devices. This morning, NACA orders immediate withdrawal from the market history textbooks for basic for pupils, which has been reported to contain questionable content about Christianity. Also, policy think tank Third World Network questions the utilization of collateralized loans sourced by successive governments from China as it blames the country's plight on impunity, corruption, and wasteful expenditure.
We should be asking who in this country put the country's head in the mouth of the Chinese dragon.
In business,
Ghana's economic program with the IMF to be submitted before Parliament for scrutiny and approval. We've got details on the Joy Business Report.
Also, we shed light on the story of a homeless hero who hustles in Accra to provide for his 8 relatives in his village.
Right now, my mother is not working, so I have to come to street and work so that I can get something. I have 8 siblings.
And later, from professional dancer to award-winning musician in search of inspiration.
I had to stop dancing professionally just to focus on the music. So I think that was like rebranding and then changing the image in people's head.
Usually I think that is the beat, stories that I hear from people, and also, what I go through as well.
We hear from musician Drew. I am Maame Esi Thompson. Details shortly. The National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA, has ordered the immediate withdrawal of a history textbook for Basic 4 students from the market, alleged to contain problematic Christian material. The Council's management has demanded that the textbook's publishers pull the content from the market until all concerns about the book's publishing are resolved. This follows recent parental concerns about the contents of a history textbook written by Francis Benjamin Appiah and Henry David Appiah, in which portions discuss the negative effects of Christian missionary activities in Ghana, including poverty and doctrinal disputes. There's a statement from them, and my colleague Joseph Akable joins me in studio with more. Joseph, what does it say?
And so it reads, the said publication from Excellence series was taken through the standard protocols established under the approval process of the council and therefore comes as a surprise. This is because the content as published by the media is not a true reflection of what NACA approved. The council wishes to state that the material in question is not an approved content material by NACA. The council urges the general public to continue to bring to its notice any suspicious material in the market that may be deemed to have been emanated from NACA. NACA will not hesitate to sanction publishers who publish such materials without recourse to the established protocols. And so it makes the point that they are calling for the withdrawal of such materials from the market.
Thank you, Joseph. Still on education now, they're pleased to government to pay arrears owed school feeding caterers across the country. The caterers have been on strike since last month following government's failure to pay them the arrears and increase the amount per child. Juliana Kojo is chairperson of the school feeding caterers for Greater Accra and has been speaking to Joy News about how they're going through harsh economic times as a result of the situation.
Madam Juliana Kojo.
And the debtors who are on our neck. Can't you see I'm sick? Because of them, when they call you, they will insult you. You don't want to pay the money. You don't want to hide it. So all these things, I don't want to talk much because if I said I'll talk school feeding, I want to brush my mouth from this school feeding because if I don't take care, I'll die and leave my children.
And away from that, policy think tank Third World Network is questioning how successive governments have utilized collateralized loans sourced from China for supposed developmental projects. The concerns come on the heels of IMF revealing that 4 collateralized loans from the Asian country exposes Ghana to losing parts of its mineral resource revenue and electricity sales should it default. Dr. Yao Graham is coordinator of the Third World Network.
The Europeans buy 99% of their solar power investment equipment from the Chinese. They are taking steps to protect themselves. So when we come here and talk about the threat China poses to us, we should be asking who in this country put the country's head in the mouth of the Chinese dragon, and discuss future lessons to avoid a repetition of the impunity, the abuse of power, the corruption, and the waste and the lack of accountability which is responsible for them.
You had the coordinator of the Third World Network, Dr. Yao Graham. Now the Judicial Service is urgently calling upon the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG, to immediately call off its strike. The action by JUSAG is a response to government's failure to address the long-standing issue of salary reviews and other pressing work concerns of its members. In a statement, the Judicial Service expressed deep concern over the detrimental impact of the strike over the delivery of justice. We will hear from the service soon. First, here's General Secretary of JUSAG, Abdullahi, who says they have the assurance of their employees to resolve this by next week, Wednesday.
We've had a bit of engagement with our management, and we're hoping that next week we will meet them and possibly meet the government side also to look at the way forward. Our management can work with government to engage us to get the approval. That is all.
Why are you not hoping that the NLC will come in this?
We all know what the solution is. They have made their orders for the Chief of Staff and the Labour Minister, Finance Minister to comply. If they have failed to comply with their directives, then they should direct their guns or their weapons towards the presidency.
Ahead of that meeting, the Judicial Service wants the group to back down. In a statement, it assured JUSAG that the concerns outlined in the press release issued on 24th May 2023 are being addressed and appealed to JUSAG to call off the strike ahead of that meeting with the Finance Ministry officials. Away from that, in the face of staggering unemployment figures and economic hardship, Samson Boateng, a 27-year-old man, has become one of many individuals forced to call the streets of Accra home. Working as a porter at a VIP bus station, Boateng hustles to provide for his 8 relatives back in his hometown. His story sheds light on the harsh realities faced by those grappling with homelessness. My colleague Prince Oswansa has more.
Last 3 weeks, my sister was admitted at Kwalibu. They operate my sister.
Samson Boateng, a 27-year-old man, works as a porter at a VIP bus station in Accra, hustling to support his 8 relatives back home.
I lost my father, and my father was the one who was doing everything for me. Right now, my mother is not working, so I have to come to street work so that I can get something. I have 8 siblings.
According to Ghana Statistical Service, the country has approximately 1.76 million unemployed individuals. Seeking better opportunities, Samson Boateng moved to Accra and found himself with no option but to consider the unforgiving street as his home.
And we are working inside VIP here, and it is not allowed for us to sleep there. And we don't have the money. I don't have the money to go and rent house at Accra here. That is the reason why I'm staying on the streets.
And that was a report by my colleague Prince Osu Ansa. Now, the governing New Patriotic Party has opened nominations for the election of its presidential candidate for the 2024 general elections. In a statement, the party indicated that aspiring presidential candidates can pick up nomination forms from today at its headquarters in Accra. To entertainment now, musician Drew says his biggest challenge has been how to rebrand himself to be seen as a singer because of his previous professional life as a dancer who performed for others. He's been speaking to Esiedua Ekumia on Prime Morning on Joy Prime.
What has been the biggest challenge that you've had to face?
Biggest challenge? I think it would be switching from being a dancer to doing music.
Oh, okay.
Professionally,
Right.
yeah. I had to stop dancing professionally just to focus on the music. So I think that was like rebranding and then changing the image in people's heads from Drew being just a dancer to being a full-fledged musician.
What really drives you when it comes to your lyrics?
Usually I think that is the beat, stories that I hear from people, and also yeah, what I go through as well.
And that's musician Drew bringing us to the end of this bulletin. In our top story, NACA orders immediate withdrawal from the market history textbooks for Basic 4 pupils, which has been reported to contain questionable content about Christianity. I'm Maame Esi Thompson. Business is up next on the Super Morning Show.